There's more than 150 towers higher than 150 meters. That's no small feat.
Not at all.
That's very impressive. It has more than New York and more than Tokyo combined. Just as a point of reference.
Did you know that some of them are also feng shui guided?
Oh, really?
Yes, even the skyscrapers. So some of them leave holes. Dragons can fly through the mountains to the water.
If I were a dragon, I would be pretty mad if there was this big amount of towers through this. So I'm glad that Feng Shui has a rule for this sort of situation. And only dragons can go inside these towers, but also pedestrians have figured out a way to traverse the city in a very interesting way. Because in Hong Kong, there's this concept called the central mid-level elevator, which is the longest outdoor covered escalator system in the entire world. It almost is 800 meters on one singular escalator.
That's really long.
That's really long, but I mean, it's a very important part of how people go from certain points to other certain points of the city. So it is a very beautiful and at the same time impressive piece of engineering.
And talking about going from one point to the other, there's the octopus cart. And it's not only used for transit, so you can use it for transit, but you can also use it for buying snacks and groceries. So several things.
All in one?
And locals even joke that it's more useful than your bank card.
Wait, it's not attached to it? That's insane. Every time I come home into any sort of European places with so many different cards for medical, for banking, for transport, it would be very nice to have everything into one singular place. I think that's something that a lot of other countries should be thinking about. And speaking about transportation, I think if I had to take a guess, the card can be used in one of the most important pieces of transportation in the entirety of Hong Kong, the ding-dings. These Hong Kong's trams dated back to 1904 are double-decker time machines, and only, at least without the octopus card, I would assume, cost only a couple of Hong Kong dollars. But what you get out of it, it's some of the cheapest views of the skyline of Hong Kong that you could get there. And they're very cute. They're all colorful and they're all different shapes and sizes. It's very nice to see them like going across the city like that.
Talking about affordable, actually.
Yeah, it's very affordable.
Yeah, there's one more thing that's very affordable and very unique or special to Hong Kong, which is Michelin-star restaurants.
Wait, what?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yeah, there are several really affordable ones. For example, Hong Kong has 71 Michelin-stars restaurants in total. And Tim Ho Wan is famous for offering Michelin-star dim sum at budget-friendly costs and prices.
How budget are we talking about?
So it can happen that you get something under $2.
What? $2?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think I should already start booking these places because I always dreamed of going to a Michelin-star hotel. I never got the chance for it. So now I have a reason to go. But of course, being inside the city is great, from restaurants to transportation. But don't be fooled. Hong Kong has a lot of very interesting sites of monuments that have a lot of interesting stories behind it. There's a lot of like Hong Kong's monuments have a lot of mixes through there. Like they are a mix of colonial history, traditional Chinese heritage, and even some modern interpretation. And there's no better example of this sort of modern retelling with the Flagstaff House. What is the Flagstaff? The Flagstaff House, dated in 1846, it is the oldest colonial building that is still in Hong Kong, and it was originally the residence of the commander of the British forces. But now I'm gonna ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Today, this place has been completely changed. It's a museum, but I want you to guess what kind of museum.
Whoa, that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Something military?
I mean, some people may think that, but no, it's all about tea.
Tea.
It's an entire monument dedicated to the wonders of tea.
Wow.
So it's talk about like a very different change in presentation for sure.
Wow, that's quite an anecdote, you can tell.
Yeah, it's quite. I was reading it. I'm like, what do you mean?
Cool. So there's actually one more anecdote about a temple this time.
Okay.
Manmo Temple, which is dedicated to the gods of literature and war. And sometimes you can find students there praying for like good exams, good grades, but they would also sometimes bribe the gods with roast pigs so they can really ensure to pass their exams.
I mean, it is very good roast pig. I know that. So I wouldn't blame them for. But speaking about other very interesting monuments in Hong Kong, I will go back to the world of military because there's another interesting interpretation of such. It is the 1881 heritage. Now, back in the day, this place was the Marine Police headquarters. But today, it is just a massive Victorian compound with like some of the most luxury brands available. Talk about a little bit of a glow up here.
Absolutely, yeah.
It does fit the luxury vibe, I have to admit. I saw pictures of it and I'm like, yeah, I would definitely put that at Louis Vuitton store over there. So I don't blame them for doing so.
And for those of you who are interested in learning more about the monuments and the sites to see, there is actually a declared monuments list.
Oh, what is that?
So you can look it up and see that there are a lot of sites that are protected. Sometimes even sites that are weirdly intertwined with skyscrapers, for example. So it's a very unique coexistence of the modern part and the traditional parts of the city.
That sounds like a lot of fun. But people might be asking, but what about the nature? What about the hiking that I have to do? Don't worry, Hong Kong has you covered on that part as well, because it also features a lot of very interesting islands. The main one is the Lantau Island, also called by locals and tourists alike the lungs of Hong Kong. You know, it has tons of greenery, but it's also the more spiritual side of Hong Kong, and also very important in the cinema history because of all the martial arts movies that have been recorded there. But we're not gonna focus on that part. What we're gonna focus about is the main star of the show. The second that you go to Lantau, you will probably see from afar the Tiantan Buddha statue. The Tiantan Buddha statue is 34 meters tall, and for a long time it was one, if not the biggest bronze statue in the world, and specifically one of the biggest Buddha representation in statue form. But there's a very interesting quirk about it. You know, the direction that this Buddha faces has a very interesting cultural significance. It faces the north, which that has an interpretation of being Buddha kind of like looking over not only the rest of Hong Kong, but also the entirety of China. So they can rest assured that they are being monitored and then being watched, and at the same time, they're also being cared for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually to learn about more places on that part of the country. For example, the Po Lin Monastery. So you can find there is a Buddhist monastery where you can find a lot of monks praying. There's also vegetarian food being served and a lot of spiritual retreats that are going on there. And maybe one more interesting for those who love good stories is the Tai O Fishing Village.
I never heard of it. What is it?
Yeah, it's nicknamed the Venice of Hong Kong, actually.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, it's made of a lot of stilt houses and narrow waterways. So I guess that's the reference to Venice here.
Okay, makes sense.
But the village also has a haunted reputation.
Ooh, I love me a good ghost story. Tell me more.
Yeah, locals speak of ghost boats and ancestral spirits coming along those narrow waterways, which can be quite foggy. So you get the impression that there can be ghosts around there. And some of the Tai O fishing traditions also involve burning paper boats to appease those souls who have maybe drowned even there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's spooky. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah, and it can be quite, it can sound quite realistic because there are a lot of typhoons and sea tragedies going on around that area. So
I see.
You know where the stories come from.
Yeah, and maybe for people that are interested in visiting, watch out for those because the waters can be a little bit unsafe, I see. Don't worry about it. The waters of Hong Kong have other very interesting plans for you, because one of the major, zones of the Hong Kong main area is the Victoria Harbour. This is basically Hong Kong's entire origin story. Without it, you wouldn't have Hong Kong. And it's basically, at the beginning, was a very important strategic position due to the fact that it was a very huge part for commerce and trading. It became easily one of the most important global trade spots in the entirety of the world. But today it's more of a sight for sore eyes, if I said the word correctly. I have to check that. But basically, what you could do is catch the Star Ferry, a classic ride between Kowloon and Hong Kong Island that has been barely changed since 1888.
Well, that's quite some time.
So if you want to get a very good whiff on how life was during those trading days, this is the best time for you. But don't don't go to sleep yet. The day has been very tired. You have been visiting so many different places, but it's worth to stay until the end of the day, because every day at 8 p.m., if you stay at Victoria Harbour, you can catch one of the most interesting and most beautiful sights you will see, the Symphony of Lights.
Oh.
Yeah. So a synchronized light and sound show across 40 buildings commences, and it's beautiful with amazing sights and music and so many different colors. And some people might think that it's a little bit overblown, a little bit on the corny side, but to that I say, no, you're wrong. You're very wrong, and it's beautiful, okay? It is poetic. It is an opportunity to turn a skyline into an opera stage, and I don't think other places can even come close to this grandiosity. So please, if you're there in Hong Kong, catch it at least once. But Victoria Harbour also has its fair share of history and urban legends. It's not ghost stories. I'm gonna add one into the story. I mentioned that Victoria Harbour is a very important part for global trade. And you know what harbors bring? It brings pirates. Yes. There is a story of one pirate called Chong Po Tai, which was a 19th century real-life pirate who is said that had been hiding his treasures in the surrounding highlands of Hong Kong. And, his name still lives on to this day. You can find him on treasure maps, or you can find even caves dedicated to him. So there's a lot of very interesting points for this very, very beautiful harbor.
Oh, wow. Now we heard a lot about the stories of the country, what's been going on there, what might be going on, what might not be there. Let's talk a bit more about the language, actually. Because, Tandem is a language learning app, so we are always interested in the language learning part.
Of course.
And in Hong Kong, there is a type or a dialect of English used. Yeah. So the Hong Kong English isn't a really complete dialect, but it's a bit adapted to different things. It has all the variety of the Cantonese grammar, the British influence, local expressions. So think of a localized remix of English, actually.
That sounds very interesting. Do you have some examples?
Yeah. So when it comes to grammar and syntax, for example, there's a lot of literal translation from Cantonese. So sentences often mirror the structure of Cantonese.
I see.
For example, people here say, you go first, la. Yeah, so you could find these particles in English sentences. And you can also see the structure, in the example, can help me to print. So there, the subject is missing, just because in common spoken Cantonese, there is no subject.
Interesting.
Yeah, and sometimes the articles and the prepositions are missing too. So you can hear someone say go to airport instead of go to the airport, and it might be perfectly normal over there.
I see. Okay, that's very interesting. But if I'm gonna try and go there, I need to learn some of the words, some of the expressions there, not just syntax. Do you have maybe some expressions and idioms that I could use to impress some locals there?
Yeah, so I also have some examples here. There are actually some borrowed phrases unique to Hong Kong. For example, add oil, which would mean something like keep it up or you can do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
And there's an expression open rice, which means that you start eating.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, you could kind of guess that one. Then there is an expression which is called chop, and it stands for a stamp approval.
Ooh, I like that. I want to start using that. Chop.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that a lot. Chop.
So those can be a bit useful for you. And then there are a lot of British English hangovers too, actually. For example, you would say lorry instead of truck.
Oh, a lorry. No, I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, me neither.